Ever After High first aired its episodes in May of 2013, and from that point, almost every single month afterwards, there was something new to watch for the show. Whether it was their webisodes, or one of their specials and movies, every month there was a constant flow of Ever After High content all the way until 2016 with Season 4. I have reviewed everything from Ever After High except Season 4, which I will finally tackle today. I've tried to go through chronologically to show the story from beginning to end, and now, after this, it'll be over. But before we get all emotional about the story's conclusion, let's check out the final season and maybe get a little retrospective about the series as a whole too.
Power Princess shining bright.
Season 4 is the first time the webisodes had that new intro, though it first featured as the intro for Epic Winter. And technically, it's not until the third episode of Season 4 that it actually starts using this new one, but then it actually goes back to the classic style for episodes 4 through 6, so you know, consistency, nah. I think both intros are nice, though I can't deny my nostalgia for the classic one makes me like that one more. I also liked the old parchment style compared to the blue-lined notebook style, but I guess it does give the show a more modern feel, which is very fitting for the characters in the story. This one also tries way harder to have action imagery. We have running with wolves, flying on dragons, and whatnot. The classic one was a lot more of standing around and chatting, kicking off the new season with bringing back something I think is really cool, the character cut-in intros. Yeah, back in True Hearts Day, I had big praise for these little character intros, so I thought it was really cool that they brought them back to help introduce this new batch of characters. Unfortunately, right from the start, you can see that the level of quality between them is pretty different. The ones from True Hearts Day had a lot more unique song styles for everyone and included a bunch of little floating doodles that matched the theme of their fairy tales. These new ones all have the same backdrop and only feature one visual item that relates to their story and has a lot more limited song styles. Though the problem might not be that the song style variety is more limited, it might actually be that the different girls' personalities are all sort of similar. But anyways, first up is Justine Dancer.
The youngest of 12 sisters.
But who does not yet know her fairy tale destiny?
Wait, what do you mean? How? The only way a destiny is uncertain in this world is if there's a level of unusual overlap with fairy tales. For example, a wolf might be the wolf that chases down Red Riding Hood, or it might be the wolf that blows down the pigs' houses. Some princes aren't sure which princess they'll be the Prince Charming for, but other than things like that, your fairy tale is based on your lineage. Justine's mom is one of the 12 dancing princesses, so she's going to be one of the 12 dancing princesses too. And in case you haven't heard the story of the 12 dancing princesses, it's not like the different princesses do different things and that's what Justine is unsure about. They all go out at night to dance. So like, what are we doing Ever After High? What is this new weird concept you've thrown in at the start of season 4 that just does not follow the lore of the world building? Anyways, oh no, somehow her shoes are beat up. We gotta figure out how this could have happened.
Press that button, chew that cord, won't work.
This is Ramona Badwolf, Justine's roommate. Yo, I love the style for their dorm room. Not many other characters have played with splitting the characters' themes down the middle of the room, like how Apple and Raven do it. Fun fact, Ramona is voiced by Cindy Robinson, who also voices Maddie in Ever After High.
Oh yeah, blame the bad wolf.
I'm pretty sure it's my hat. She doesn't like my hat.
Incredible range. Such a legitimately super talented person. Oh yeah, anyways, Justine took her own shoes, because that's literally the plot of her fairy tale. Although they have her sleepwalking, dancing, sleep dancing here.
You had to find out for yourself. But now that you know, you'll begin to control your power.
Is there like a different rendition of this fairy tale or something? The 12 dancing princesses get cursed at the end of their story for lying to their father and sneaking out to dance with the princes. Which, like, I think we need to use this last season to help talk about the real reasons Ever After High got abruptly cancelled. I know there's bigger things like the lower quality dolls and the competition with Descendants, and I'll get to those things later, but let's not kid ourselves. Mattel was sort of screwing themselves over with the actual cartoon too. Inconsistent lore, especially such simplistic lore meant for children to follow, is a bad look. You can't just decide Justine can't know her destiny when the whole point of the show is about the kids knowing and choosing whether or not they want to follow that destiny. It sure is lucky Justine is a royal, because what if she didn't want to dance? But also, is she even a royal? Because it doesn't sound like she's following her fairy tale, a concept I brought up last time with Crystal Winter. These ladies' fairy tales are not the same stories we see in this show. They misrepresented the Snow Queen to instead just be a fusion between Frozen and the Santa Claus 3. And now, the way they talk about the 12 dancing princesses similarly paints the fairy tale as something completely different. What's the point about doing a story about choosing whether or not you want to follow your fairy tale if the show itself doesn't even actually follow the fairy tales? Next up is Farrah Goodfairy, daughter of the fairy godmother. We've really seen every aspect of Ashlyn's fairy tale now, except for whoever is supposed to be her intended Prince Charming. Weird. It feels like they could have done something really interesting with that. Rivalry with Hunter or something, you know? I think Farrah is pretty neat, but I do think it's a bummer Ashlyn's stepsisters only existed for the one episode.
I'll never have a fabulous gown myself, or have a ball to go to, or a prince to dance with.
Interesting that Farrah says this, but is still classified as a royal. Though I suppose it's not that she doesn't like having ultimate amazing magical powers. I guess she can be a fairy godmother and also go out dancing too. In fact, what's stopping you? Go out, girl. Go party it up if you want. The kids' solution is to throw Farrah a big party like she wants, but they do it by asking her to magic up all the party decorations and stuff. So it's like, you made her do all the work for her own party?
If you don't mind. For my best friend forever after? Anything.
Best friend? Honey, you can't roll up in season 4 and claim you're anyone's best friend. Get in line behind Briar, Apple, and Hunter. Also, this plot for Farrah feels so weird when the very next episode is about her attending 2 more parties. What's happening with your outfits, ladies? Like, I thought maybe Farrah's design felt busy because they wanted her to feel more magical, but no. The style for the outfits have really started leaning heavily on the patterns. Really intricate little crisscrossing patterns and streaks of colored hair, but alternatively simple shaped cuts for the clothes and minimal accessories. I think it's the accessories that are throwing me. They seemed really prominent in early Ever After High designs. Hey, all those characters are just wearing their throne coming outfits. No, that's cheating.
Okay, everyone. Mr. Pied Piper, sir.
Stop. Hold up. Who the heck is that? Because that is not Hunter's voice. We literally just heard him in the last episode with the parties.
Ashley! I didn't think you were gonna make it! So, I composed this enchanted song.
The episodes both came out in the same month, too. What the hell? There's just such a clear lack of care from the production side of the season. First I was like, wow, shout out to Sparrow's pet ferret, that's cute. But then I immediately got distracted with Humphrey's gigantic pet egg with the most insane pattern on it. What are you doing, kid?
Sure thing, Dad.
Melody's been in the show since the very beginning. I think it's really neat how much they turned her into her own unique character over the years, dragged her out of the background. It reminds me of a similar thing Monster High did with Iris and Manny. Also, her outfit is cool. The leather vest with the t-shirt is a unique style for the world of Ever After High. Speaking of background characters, who are you? Like, the show is at the point where there's enough characters that there really isn't any need for background extras to fill out the class. It's like that random lady Maddie was hanging out with in the yearbook episode. Who are you? Why are you two here? What fairy tale do you think these ladies would have? Let me know in the comments. This girl in the gray is in so much of this episode too. Like, there's some other background extras, but she is pretty prominent in the main group. She even gets a line of dialogue.
Make us move, Melody!
It's so weird. Who are you? Next up, we'll get to meet the daughter of Thumbelina, and then we'll get the daughter of Jack and the Beanstalk. A lot of these characters you actually got a first glimpse of in Dragon Games, which came out in January of 2016, letting you get your first impression of these girls before giving them full episodes to show off their personalities here. Season 4 released 2 episodes each month, starting from April and ending in October, except for July and August, which was when Epic Winter came out. Really? August? For the winter story? Okay. Anyways, back to the daughter of Thumbelina. Nina. She's fun, got a lot of energy.
We can learn a lot from the little world.
This is kind of what I alluded to before when I was talking about their character song intros. All these new girls are just kinda nice. They're friendly and excitable, and that's about it. It's just a shame that Ever After High started with quite the lineup of distinct personalities. Sure, generally the characters were nice and whatever, but we also had Manic Maddie, Sourpuss Raven, Adventure Crazy Briar, Helpless Romantic Cupid, Shy Nervous Cerise, and now we have Nice Nina, and Energetic Jillian, and Kind Farah, and Pleasant Justine, and it's all just kind of the same. These new kids tend to blend together in my mind because they just don't have very unique personalities. Or problems. Nothing they care about is any more extreme than, aw man, who's breaking my shoes? It probably doesn't help that they're almost all royals. Yeah, every girl I've been mentioning are all royals. Maybe we'd get more cool personality traits if there was a rebel or two. This adventure had the girls running around small-sized with Nina thanks to a charm that shrank you down. At the end, Tiny grabs it, but we never get to see what he looks like. He's just back to normal in the very next episode. So that's disappointing.
Got this.
On to daughter of Jack and the Beanstalk, Jillian. She helps Humphrey with his fear of heights. Cute concept. I know I already talked about the outfits, but I think it's even more clear here, where we see Jillian and Humphrey standing side by side. Like, you can see how every part of her outfit is covered in this intricate pattern. She just looks really, really busy, you know? What the heck is going on with your watch? Whack-ass fairy tale timekeeping?
I'd say you were pretty brave.
Real talk though, this is probably the best episode for the season. This dynamic is fun, and I like the lesson of trying to be brave, but shows true bravery when trying to help others. I know it's a kids show, and their lessons and episodic misadventures aren't ever that complex or anything, but the other episodes have been very safe. Oh no! We have 2 different parties to go to! Well, what if we combined the parties together? Oh gee, everyone's been magic blasted to dance. Well, let's all dance together to break the spell. They're fine, but not very unique. Like, next we meet Michelle. She's shy on land, but is a good singer, and the others want her to sing in the talent show. So their plan is to just have a really big fishbowl for her to swim in while she sings, and that's it. Like, every solution is just a really simple, obvious, boring solution. I know this is a lot of complaining for a children's TV show to sell dolls, but can you blame me? They're just giving me nothing to sink my teeth into, and the worst part is that they used to. That's why I talk about the show. That's why I cared enough to bother keeping up with it, was that it was fun and creative. Not only did their episodic adventures have better backs and forths with the royals and rebels, last season they had 2 ongoing narratives. Remember? The yearbook plotline and the Raven Dexter plotline. It's not that season 4 is bland, it's that it's bland in comparison to the show that came before it. You set your own standards and you're failing to reach it. The next episode is just one to introduce Crystal to the show proper in case anyone missed the Epic Winter special. You wanna know the goofiest thing? Crystal's first doll dropped in mid-May of 2016. But like I said earlier, Epic Winter wasn't until August. Then this episode wasn't until September. What's wrong with you, Mattel? They did this all the time, dropping the dolls in the episodes featuring them at wildly different times. Of course no one bought this doll. When it dropped, no one knew who this chick was yet. Hey, that's cheating. That's just the outfits they wore in Epic Winter. You're cheating again. Oh, thank goodness. Jackie and Northwind are here to help make something interesting happen. Except they kinda don't. This episode is really weird. It kind of just ends. Like, they're all always short, but this one just felt like only setup and then it was just over. I actually saw this episode long before I actually watched Epic Winter, and this did nothing to get me interested in watching that special. I just didn't get enough of these new characters' personalities or motivations to really care. Crystal doesn't even do anything except change the girls' outfits. Easily the most forgettable episode out of the season. Next, we're looping back around to Ramona. So, a while ago, when I reviewed Dragon Games, I had said I'd get into Ramona's character more later. Well, now is finally the time. I'm just gonna say it. She looks exactly like Cerise. So, like, everybody should be able to figure out the family secret. That was a pretty prominent plot element for Cerise, and she only revealed her secret to Raven. Presumably Cedar knows too, since they're roommates, but other than that, everyone should still be in the dark. But then once this new girl shows up looking exactly like Cerise, you think it would make it really easy for everyone to put 2 and 2 together. And we can add these two to the list of looks more like they're twins than Dexter and Darling, who are actually twins. Don't get me wrong, personality-wise, she's the only one with a bit of pizzazz out of this new lineup of girls.
A new student, well, an old student, returns to the school.
There's that lack of consistency again. Not only has Ramona been in the background ever since Dragon Games, but she played a major role in the first episode of this season. How can Ramona only now be coming back, but also be Justine's roommate? Unless you're telling the story out of order. But why would you?
I thought I smelled wet dog.
I wish we got to see Ramona go full wolf mode, like how we see her dad doing. So the wiki says Ramona is a rebel, and based on the fact she's the only one to get this darker blue character intro bit, I guess that's supposed to signify a rebel where all the pink ones were from the royals. But like, she's really not a rebel. She is still a bad wolf and is playing the role of a villain. I suppose the only reason she's labeled a rebel is by technicality thanks to her family's secret, which is definitely another problem with these later episodes of the show. It's mostly just royals now. The whole concept of royal versus rebel has really been forgotten. That was the most compelling part of the show. A fairy tale character choosing whether or not they wanted to continue their story that was laid out for them. 2 different sides of every story. How you might want your destiny, but someone important to it might not. Would that throw your destiny out the window too? And there was a lot of unique things here. Duchess being a rebel because her story ends with her tragic death. Fabel loving being a wicked evil fairy and embracing the character traits that Raven tries to distance herself from. Briar acknowledging that she doesn't want to be royal anymore because she'll lose all her friends. There's neat stuff here. And we just don't get anything like that with these new characters. They're just kind of nice. And they're just kind of royal because why not, I guess. They're all princesses who just get to live happily ever after, or in Justine's case, we just quietly ignore what her fairy tale actually is. Maybe they're basing it off of the Barbie version or something instead. And whenever they introduce a character who is a villain from the fairy tale, they just play the role of the villains, like Ramona or Jackie in Northwind. What was once a very unique spin on fairy tales is now just kind of typical and basic. Claudine did that ages ago in Monster High. That's cheating too. That still counts. This episode ends with the 2 racing, but we don't even actually get to see the race. Bummer. And then, that was it. Yeah, season 4 was only 9 episodes long. I suspect they had planned on more episodes because this does not feel like a proper send-off to the show. Honestly, season 3's finale with their yearbook would have worked a lot better. But that's it. Ever After High is officially done, so I guess this is the last time I can do this little musical montage. So, I have spent a lot of my time thinking about what happened to Ever After High. I was one of the hopium soldiers waiting patiently to see if new episodes or movies would drop, even after a very, very long hiatus. Then weeks passed, then months, then years, and by the time Gen 2 of Monster High started, I had given up hope entirely. So I spent a lot of time thinking about what went wrong with Ever After High, and I already addressed quite a bit of it in my main speculations here, dropping the unique gimmick about rebels and royals, inconsistent lore, ignoring the real fairy tale stories for certain characters. The lack of a real narrative or feeling of character continuation also didn't help. During the show's runtime, children's media was very much getting into telling full narrative. Things like Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, She-Ra, hell, even My Little Pony. They featured a continual narrative, a plot to follow across the full show's runtime. Characters changed and developed, and thanks to streaming services really taking off, it was easier than ever to keep track of these narrative developments. Meanwhile, Ever After High was sticking to its episodic status quo. They flirted with this narrative idea in season 3, but just reverted back to one-off fluff pieces in this last season. The fact it ends on Cerise and Ramona still hiding their family's secret kind of perfectly highlights how little anything changed over the course of the 3 years for the show.
If anyone knew the big bad wolf was married to Little Red,
They'd flip their crowns.
Nothing ever really mattered in the long run. Villains could just come back willy-nilly, relationships never seemed to stay together. Instead, Mattel seemed far more interested in just throwing a bunch of new characters on the screen. Out of the 9 episodes for season 4, 7 of them are dedicated towards introducing a brand new character. 8 if we include Crystal. These comparatively bland new kids get plopped front and center, while all of our old favorites slowly got forgotten. When was the last time Bunny and Alistair got to do anything? When was Cupid's last speaking role? Cedar has been completely forgotten since season 2. Raven and Apple themselves have gotten sidelined and forgotten. But of course, it's not just the cartoon.
Every field trip's canceled.
And I was so excited to see new places today.
Mattel never really cared about making a show for people to watch. They were essentially making long commercials to help sell their dolls. Dolls which were made out of poorer and poorer quality and cheaper materials. And honestly, looking at these over-designed, garish outfits with all these new kids, even if their dolls were a nicer quality, it's not like they had a whole lot of noteworthy fashion to entice people to pick them off the shelves. Especially when those dolls were plopped right next to Descendants. I always found the weirdly too realistic faces on these dolls to match the actors' appearances off-putting, but I can't deny, aside from that, Disney just had nicer looking products. The dolls had better articulation, nicer fabrics, and most importantly, a more unique spread of outfit styles. The Disney brand recognition to sell their fairy tales also helped. I remember the first time I saw anything about Ever After High related, it was Raven's doll in the store, and I was so confused what fairy tale she was supposed to be. That's what compelled me to actually watch the show. Also, Descendants has boy dolls regularly. 2 of the main characters are boys, and if you like the male characters in Ever After High, you're screwed. I never got a Hopper doll. Sure, I could get a doll for Duchess, but what's the point if I can't have her best friend's sidekick Sparrow with her?
They went this way. I'm finally gonna get some proof.
Why do you even care?
And on that note, if you wanted some of the main characters, they were getting less and less screen time in the show, and less dolls that weren't stapled to some weird gimmick. But like we see in this one, they weren't even coming up with good ideas. In season 1, we had a whole random little tea party assortment, and this one they just copied outfits that they already had from prior specials. And with those specials, there was so much time in the middle where it was just Wonderland. There was like 3 in a row that just had features of Wonderland prominently. And then after that, they had Dragon Games, which was cool and different, but then they just piggybacked off of Disney to do Frozen. By the time everyone was already tired of Frozen. People were already comparing Ever After High to Descendants, so to just copy Disney's biggest film at the time only made the comparisons even worse. Is it any wonder Ever After High fell apart when you had idiots in charge of all these marketing decisions?
But all over again. One after one.
However, I refuse to call it quits here. I adamantly refused to watch Descendants for the longest time, mostly out of spite. How dare you kill off one of my comfort shows? But with this being the end of Ever After High, I finally sat down to watch the film, to really judge it for being the thing that ended the story of Apple and Raven. However, if you want to see my full thoughts on that film, you'll have to tune in tomorrow to see my full review.
So
Gross.
I know, right? Amazingly gross.
I really love Ever After High, even with its flaws at the end there. I find the premise incredibly creative. It's a campy, fun, lighthearted little series. I know there's a good chance there'll never be a revival for the show, but hey, if Monster High can get resurrected over and over again, maybe Ever After High has a chance of getting that someday too. Until then, I have truly loved getting to share all my thoughts about the show, but this story has finally come to an end. Extra special shout out to my $100 patron, Mesothelioma. They got a cool outfit on, right now and every single day. Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, Classy Critic, Genital War Thunder, Jake, Amber, Scaring Crows, Messiah, Jacob, Ben's Sketchbook, Lucienne, Wild Pilot, Bunkin Duncan, Hoodie Angel, Ranger, C1 Trooper, Ruby Rune, Lava Rose, Unspoken, Tyrene, Thanos, Pandemonium, Peter, Aguirre, Eden, Silver, Doki Pokey, Zappy, Wolfgang, Philip, Lalaroni, Nerf Ned, Middle Coop, Vermithor, Card Creates, Cat with a Knife, Rose, Mar Ruby, Cartoony Tim, The Lover, and Maximum Warp. What do you think? What do you think of Ever After High on the whole? There was so much to talk about. Did you ever have any of the dolls? What did you think? What are your thoughts and feelings? And remember, I'm talking about Descendants next. I have quite a lot to say about that one, so I hope I'll see you as we dive into that story, and we'll go into those movies into the future. But to finish off Ever After High, tell me your thoughts and opinions, your favorite characters, your favorite episodes, your favorite dolls, any thoughts, theories, hopes, wishes, anything and everything. Let's celebrate Ever After High one last time, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.